Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Remember I one time said there was different amounts of time available for work depending on which branch of stenography you're in? Well, today we're going to talk about stacking multiple careers as a stenographer. In one of my previous videos, I mentioned that stenographers have different amounts of jobs available to them. Court reporters have the most available year-round. They could be working 24/7 if they wanted to be. Then there are the cart providers. They have seasonal fluctuations due to their jobs being centered around the school year. That leaves certain times of the year where the pickings are thin and you have summer break, winter break, Fridays, and all kinds of downtime. This video addresses their need to potentially have multiple careers stacked so that the downtime can also be remunerated with work of some kind. Here's an analogy. Imagine your day. You have a glass jar in front of you that represents the time in your day. Everybody has only 24 hours a day, so everybody's glass jar is the same size. Now you have different sizes of activities that you can fit into the jar. Some activities are like rocks. They're very big. Some are like sand, very small. Some are like water, fluid. Imagine that the rocks are activities that are pegged to your schedule at an exact time, like a cart captioning job. They are immovable, and they take up a significant chunk of time, like the rock taking up a significant amount of space in that glass jar. You have to put these into the schedule first, on your calendar. And then there are those activities that are more flexible and fluid, like the sand and water. You can fit those anywhere around the rocks, and they'll fit themselves in. These are activities that don't need to be pegged to an exact time on your calendar, but just need to get done. So as a freelancer doing cart captioning or court reporting, you have a patchwork of discrete time blocks on your schedule. What do you do with the in-between downtime if you still want to make money? You can go to transcribeanywhere.com and get trained to become a legal transcriptionist, which there will be work for you 24/7 non-stop, and the work is not pegged to a certain block of time on the schedule. You can pick up as much work as you want or as little as you want, and let this type of transcription work fill in the blank spaces that are formed from the cart captioning blocks that take up your time. Now, this wouldn't work if you're not a clean real-time stenographer, because then those blank spaces will be taken up with you cleaning up your sloppy transcript from cart captioning, and the potential for further growth of income would be stunted. But let's say your real time is clean and you're done with your cart job within 15 minutes of the class ending. So now you have 2 hours before your next class, let's say, and you can fit in some offline transcription while you wait. That's how that sand can fit between the rocks in your schedule, and you can have a full work day. Other such jobs that are flexible like sand can be scoping, proofreading, copywriting, or translating. I avoided the idea of doing scoping as a cart captioner because I don't want to read other stenographers' steno outlines that might mess up my own writing. But if you're not afraid of it messing you up, it's an opportunity to see how other court reporters write. And maybe you can glean some outline for your own writing, if you're able to keep it separate and not mess yourself up. My late stenography teacher, Sue, was an amazing woman. She managed to raise 6 children, after which she started working at 40 until 90 years old as a court reporting instructor, and she layered in proofreading as a side gig outside of teaching. She once told me that she made $90K a year at an age that most people would be retired already. So, if you're a workaholic like me, and you find work to be fun, we're not workaholics, we're workafrolics. You can layer in rocks of cart captioning into your day with the flexible jobs filling in between. One of my flexible jobs is translation. I translate for 2 friends who own businesses in my city. One is a realtor, and she speaks only English, but wants to reach clients who speak only Chinese or only Spanish. And I help her translate to reach them. But we do it by group text so that I can fit it in like sand around the rocks of my cart captioning day. I've read about a stenographer who fits her sewing hobby into the intermittent breaks throughout her cart captioning day. So you don't have to layer in another job into the random spaces throughout the day. You can fit in house chores and hobbies instead. That's great too. Or networking with friends and making phone calls. Sometimes, like yesterday, I had half a day of work from 6 a.m. in the morning until 12 p.m. and then spent the rest of the afternoon at my elderly friend's apartment eating popcorn and chatting, because my random schedule produced a big block of downtime for the rest of the day. You can also run errands as a cart captioner during the weekday, when the grocery stores are not so full of people. And you can go to Costco on a Monday afternoon, which I could have done instead of going to my friend's apartment. It's great. I love my job. The discrete jobs of cart captioning are done when you're done. It's not like teaching where you never stop thinking about your students and you feel totally burned out because the job never leaves your head. Cart captioning is done when it's done, and you have the flexibility to schedule as much as you can handle or as little as you want when you wish to take it easy. Also, whereas it's very difficult of a skill to learn, it's not like computer science that you have to keep learning forever and things keep changing. Stenography is more like being a concert pianist and being able to use the same skill over and over again. There's a longevity to the career where people have been known to work until they're 80 years old. This is unheard of in other careers, like computer science, where people max out at 50 and get laid off and never find another job again. But here I am off on another tangent, which is probably better for a separate video. But anyways, hope you enjoyed that topic. One thing about scheduling cart captioning and accepting jobs is you also have to be careful of the total end amount of workload you're accepting for one day. Because it's discrete and individual, and because it's feast or famine, where the schedule fluctuates, there is a tendency to want to accept everything that will fit on your schedule. And then you can end up with way too much work for one day. That's something to be careful about. I did one time end up with 15 hours of captioning on every Tuesday of a whole semester, and that was pretty exhausting. It was good money, but it was pretty exhausting. Okay, end of story. Hope you have a nice day, and that's it. Bye. Okay, so you see we can have different careers interwoven into our day. That's pretty fun. I know a cart captioner who's also a court reporter taking depositions. I know a cart captioner who's also a notary, and another one who does mechanics. He's a car mechanic on the side. So there are all kinds of possibilities that you can have an interesting day. Bye-bye, everybody.